People will tell you to keep going, no matter what. That giving up means failure. That stopping is weak. But let's be honest, that's not always true. Some things aren't meant to be finished. Some efforts don't deserve to be stretched out. Some paths only drain you the longer you stay on them. Not every situation is fixable. Not every goal needs to be forced to completion. Sometimes the most strategic move is to walk away before it costs more than it's worth. Knowing when to stop is underrated. We glorify endurance, but rarely talk about the damage of holding on too long. There's a difference between being strong and being stuck. If something is breaking you down more than it's building you up, that's a signal, not a test of character. Too many people confuse exhaustion with commitment. They stay in bad jobs, one-sided relationships, or personal projects that no longer fit, all in the name of not quitting, but staying in something that's no longer right, just to prove loyalty? That's not strength, that's fear of change. The hardest part of giving up is not the decision, it's what people will think. It's the judgment, the questions, the feeling that maybe you failed. That's what keeps people trapped. They'd rather suffer through something they've outgrown than deal with the temporary discomfort of stepping out of it. Even worse, they think walking away means the whole effort was a waste. That's not true either. You can outgrow things that once made perfect sense. You can close doors without regret. There's nothing shameful about realizing something no longer aligns. The world teaches us to measure progress by endurance. But real growth means knowing when to stop pouring energy into something that's already done, serving its purpose. That goes for jobs, relationships, goals, friendships, habits, and even identities. If something no longer fits, dragging it with you into the future won't make it fit again. Letting go isn't losing, it's clearing the space for something better to land. People romanticize the idea of pushing through. But in real life, sometimes stopping is smarter. Sometimes it takes more courage to leave than it does to stay. There's no reward for finishing something that's breaking you, no prize for staying too long out of pride, and no bonus points for tolerating what's already failing you, just because you committed to it once. Sometimes the most powerful decision you can make is to step away, not because it's easy, but because you finally see the truth. It's not working, and pretending it might eventually work isn't helping. That's where people get stuck. They think one more try will change everything. One more conversation, one more compromise, one more push. But when a pattern keeps repeating, when the cost keeps rising, when the outcome never shifts, it's not effort that's missing, it's honesty. If something constantly takes more than it gives, if your gut tells you you're just managing damage, not building anything meaningful, you're not in growth anymore. You're in survival, and survival isn't the goal. Giving up doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you care about what happens next. It means you're choosing what's real over what's familiar. It means you've stopped asking what could happen if you hold on, and started asking what could be possible if you let go. Once you realize something needs to end, the next challenge is figuring out how to step away without self-sabotage. Quitting the wrong way can leave you bitter, confused, or stuck in regret. But doing it clearly, with intention and self-respect, turns it into a turning point instead of a breakdown. The first step is accepting what it is, not what you hoped it would become, not what it was in the beginning, but what it is now. If something hasn't changed after effort, conversation, time, and compromise, the situation isn't stuck. It's just over. People waste years trying to turn dysfunction into success just because they feel guilty for walking away. They take the weight of the entire outcome on their shoulders. But you're not obligated to keep carrying something just because you once said yes to it. There's no need to burn the whole thing down. Not every ending has to be dramatic. Sometimes the most powerful exit is quiet, honest, and clean. No blame, no anger, no final explosion, just a decision. This no longer works, and I'm done pretending it does. Don't over-explain. You don't need a perfect reason. You don't need to justify your peace. And not everyone needs to understand it. If you're constantly managing how other people will interpret your decision to stop, you're still performing for them. You're still handing over control. You owe yourself more than that. When something starts costing your mental clarity, your confidence, your health, or your peace of mind, the damage isn't worth the delay. The longer you keep yourself in what's draining you, the more it distorts your judgment. You stop thinking clearly. You start settling. You become emotionally numb, just to keep up the act. And that numbness, that's your sign. Numbness is the nervous system saying, "I've checked out, but you haven't." That's when you need to listen. Letting go doesn't mean you failed the mission. Sometimes the mission was only meant to last a season. And seasons end. You also don't need a new plan before you leave. That's another trap. Thinking you have to have the next step fully figured out before you can take your foot off the gas. But sometimes clarity only shows up after the pressure is gone. You may need time to detox from the situation before you can even think clearly again. That's not weakness. That's what happens when you've been carrying too much for too long. You need to reset, not rush into the next thing. Once you step away, you're going to feel a mix of emotions. Relief, doubt, guilt, freedom, grief. That's normal. The mind hates endings, even healthy ones. Your job isn't to analyze those emotions to death. Your job is to feel them and keep moving. Leaving something doesn't always feel good right away. Sometimes it's just necessary. Eventually, though, the space you created will start to feel like oxygen. Your mind will stop spinning. Your nervous system will settle. You'll start making clearer choices. You'll stop overreacting to small things. You'll realize just how much weight you were carrying and how long you tolerated it just to keep the illusion alive. That's when it clicks. Giving up wasn't giving in. It was giving yourself a chance to start over without dragging a dead weight behind you. The next time you feel something pulling at you, asking for your energy, your time, your attention, stop and ask, does this match the future I'm trying to build? Or am I trying to fix something just because I'm scared to be done with it? Clarity is never found in clinging. It's found in creating distance, enough space between who you are and what's been draining you that you can finally think clearly again. You're allowed to give up. You're allowed to outgrow. You're allowed to close a chapter that doesn't deserve another rewrite. The point isn't to force things to last. The point is to stop choosing what hurts just because it's familiar. Some exits are not escapes. They're evolution.